Hello and welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, where we will be previewing the next game, which is the second leg tie of the last 16 of Europa League against Slavia Prague, and we will be discussing news regarding the Undisputed Kings of Glasgow. So I am your host, Scott Carney, and joining me today is Ali Pearson.
How we doing, lads? Pretty boring weekend without the Rangers, but looking forward to it tomorrow night.
And Scott Gemmell.
Hey, afternoon, guys. The weather's doing wonders for me, man. It's making me cheerful.
Yeah, not half. It's felt a long time since Rangers have played football. It really has. I don't know. It just seems longer than most. I think as well because we've not returned to league action as well since winning the league and stuff. It's just all a bit strange, but 100% right, Scotia. The weather is doing wonders for me. It's absolutely beautiful. I had to take a work call today and I sat out back taking it, and it was just tremendous, man. Like, it makes such a difference. I've got a washing out today. I've got a washing outside. Times are changing. Anyway, we'll jump into, obviously we're here to preview the next game, but before we get to that, we'll discuss just some Rangers news or bits of news that each of us want to talk about regarding Rangers. So Ali, do you want to start us off, mate?
I was just really touching on the Rangers have come out with quite a lot of videos recently. You've had Gerrard out, you had Tav out. They had another video yesterday, I think, with all the players with the stay-at-home message for all Rangers fans this weekend that apparently we're going to go to Parkhead. I think it's a bit of a witch hunt at Rangers, to be honest. I remember when Celtic were throwing their Sharks and there was never any of this when they were greeting their players at Hampden when they were in a cup final. Again, never any of this. It's just, as soon as Rangers do something, it's all over it. And yeah, I mean, I don't know where it's all coming from because the league's done. I never thought any set of fans would appear there at the weekend. So I don't know what it's all about. And on the back of it, Celtic have been posting their wee messages to their fans as well. And I found it quite funny how they can't say the word Old Firm. It's Glasgow Derby. I even seen Scott McDonald on Sky Sports yesterday. He was getting interviewed. He said Glasgow Derby. And they've got a guy, I don't know if he worked for BT Sports or something, but apparently he's doing the game for Celtic TV. And he had to delete all those tweets apparently from previous. And he's mentioned Glasgow Derby. I just think that it sums their football club up. They're scummy. They can't take it. They're so bitter as well about this Glasgow Derby. When Celtic were beating Rangers by 5-0, 5-1, goading us like hell, never mentioned Glasgow Derby really, did they? It was always the Old Firm, but now tables have turned. They don't like it, they can't take it, and it just sums that scummy club up. I don't know what your thoughts are on it all.
It does sum them up, mate. I mean, it's so petty. It really is, the whole the Glasgow Derby thing. I mean, they can kid themselves on as much as they want, mate. It's not called that. They know it's not called that. They renewed the trademark for it, so the club's doing one thing and telling their fans another. It's playing to their gallery. And said it before, you can't mark these guys next with a blowtorch, mate. It's impossible. This is just what they do, mate. And in regards to the fans gathering at Parkhead, I've not spoke to anybody that said to me, I'm going to Parkhead on Sunday. There's not one person that said that to me. I'm in numerous groups, WhatsApp groups with different clubs and whatever else, Rangers fans, and guys that go to home and away games, and not one of them has said to me, "Oh, you going to Parkhead on Sunday?" So, yeah, the fact that the club have, I don't want to say overkill the message. What they're doing, I think, is correct. Yeah, but there's been a message from the. What was that?
Sorry, no, I've got my window open and the dogs out the back were going mental, so I wasn't sure if it was picking it up, so I was going to close my window. But if you can't hear it, that's okay, sorry.
I couldn't hear anything. I was like, what was that? I just got a message flash up on my screen. I was like, I don't know what that was. Anyway, in terms of the messages that Rangers are putting out, as I say, I do agree with them, but Gerrard's released a comment, a letter to the fans. Tav did his own video from his own house regarding it, saying don't come. Douglas Park produced that letter after we got accused of doing nothing when everybody was at Ibrox. shown that we've had communication, and now there's this video that's came out as well. Stay at home, support Glasgow Rangers, support the NHS, and yeah, I agree with it all. But it seems, I think maybe Rangers are just covering their bases. I think Rangers are covering it every possible way that they can, thinking about how they can get this message across for fans to stay at home. So fair play to them for that. But yeah, I think it's a wee bit. Yeah, a wee bit of a witch hunt, as you say, Alex. A wee bit. Oh, Rangers did this, so we'll get Rangers to make their voices known and to do all this different action. I did think it was slightly ironic that Bassey was in the video.
I found that funny. Stay at home.
When I seen that, I thought that's what makes me think it might be a wee bit overkill from Rangers, but while also having a wee dig at the same time, because I did find it quite funny. I went, okay, big Bassey. I was like, telling you to stay at home. Scotia, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's unnecessary, really. I've not heard of anyone, the Rangers side of things, don't really think I've heard anyone on the Celtic side of things saying, oh yes, we're going to go to Parkhead before the game. It seems a bit unnecessary. I know Rangers had in sort of David Edgar from Heart and Hand, Mark from Follow, Stevie from Four Lads and the Union Bears representative in with them to sort of discuss it, and they were the same. They were like, none of us have heard any plans to go near Parkhead. I mean, the only reason I would be going near Parkhead in normal times would be to get off the train and walk across the river to Ali's house to sit and watch the game with you. I wouldn't be going nowhere near. I wouldn't have thought, would never enter my mind unless I had a ticket to go anywhere near Parkhead at the best of times, never mind during an Old Firm game. So it seems a wee bit unnecessary. And yeah, you're right, there is a witch hunt. And I've got a bit, not fear, but I'm worried that the decision in Hampden hosting Euro games is going to be made sort of starting April, and I'm just waiting for Rangers fans to be used as the sticking point. That's why Hampden's not getting used. I hope it does get used, but I can see that getting used as a sticking point, and unfortunately it'll drive a wedge further between Rangers fans and Scotland fans. I know myself, I'm a big Scotland fan. I know other Rangers fans that they're at, but there's a big disconnect between the Rangers support as a whole in Scotland, and I'd like to see it come together a bit more, but the more and more they do stuff like this, it just drives further wedge into it, really.
I can't really disagree with that, mate. I'm not the biggest of Scotland fans, but to be honest, I never really have been, so I can't say here and claim it's based on anything really recent. Obviously, the things that have happened regarding the SFA and Rangers, and some of the Scotland support, the way they've treated some Rangers players has not been ideal, so it obviously doesn't paint that in the best light. And yeah, I mean, I'll always look out for Scotland in that, but I'm not really a big fan. But you're right, mate, it could probably will try and use this stick to beat us with, that we can't hold a game there because big bad Rangers fans are going to come out and do bad things. So I hope that's not the case. It would be a real shame if the Scottish Government and the SFA decided to kind of do something like that, because it's not correct. It really isn't. Scotland should be involved. I mean, Hampden's not exactly the most spectacular of stadiums, but it should definitely still be involved in this. Anyway, Ali, anything else to say before I move on, mate?
No, I mean, I'll obviously we'll probably do a preview of the Celtic game, I'd imagine, after tomorrow night. So I had one other thing in regards to that, but I'll leave that for then.
Okay, that's fine, mate. Not a problem. Keep the listeners on tenterhooks, mate. Are you Scotia? Do you want to go next, mate?
Yeah, something I wanted to discuss, and probably stealing it from when Ali was through his press conference today, but it was kind of the news that Ryan Jack was going to miss tomorrow night again. And the way Gerrard was speaking, it was a bit touch and go for Sunday, even as well. Now, I've had this bit of a worry in me for a while, and I've not really wanted to speak about it until everything was done. And one of the things about it I was wanting to talk about is kind of more suited for the end of the season, but I think just now is quite a good moment to speak about it, because I've seen a lot of folk on Twitter go on about it. But I think that's Jack. Someone on Twitter I'd seen had said that he's missed about 70 games for Rangers since he signed for us through injury. And it gives me a bit of worry for our midfield going forward, particularly for next season as well, because we've all said that Kamara's probably going to be one of these players that we sell. Davis is a year older. So our midfield's kind of starting to look a wee bit, is this problem with Jack going to consist, or is it, hopefully it'll just sort itself out over the summer and whatnot. But you've got that worry that we'll seriously need to look at upgrading the midfield, I think, come summer. Well, obviously we've got Offenbach coming in, but he's a young lad, so to make any kind of impact in the Champions League, midfield's growing a bit of concern for me, I think. What about yous?
Alec?
Yeah, no, I agree with Scotia. Ryan Jack, we were told last weekend he could have played. They could have played against Slavia, but Gerrard held him back by himself. And now we go into the second leg and he can't play. So he basically says he's unavailable. That's as far as he would go with it. And it's worrying because, I mean, that's some stat you put out there, Scotia. 70 games he's missed. I mean, I know he was red carded for the first season, pretty much that whole season. Remember that, but no, it's 70 games to miss, and it's a lot of games to be honest. And he seems to come back, Ryan Jack. You get a wee run out of him, similar to Kamar Roof, to be honest, and then bang, he's out for a while. And I think you're right. He's 29 years of age, Ryan Jack. Davis, obviously, as you said, is getting a year older next year. I honestly think Rangers will be looking for maybe not a replacement as such, but somebody to come in there that we can rely on if Ryan Jack's not going to be there. Because you look at the midfield, if Davis is going to be there hopefully next season, if there's no Ryan Jack, who comes in at the moment and really fills that slot? I mean, you've got the boy coming in from Bournemouth, and I've said previously I've been watching him. He hardly gets a game for Wickham at the moment on loan. He has 10-15 minute cameos. So yeah, it's probably a position that we'll need to look at in the summer, because we can't have a player that's going to be injured as much as he is. And he's a huge player for Rangers, Ryan Jack. And I really don't expect him to be playing against Celtic at the weekend. He'll be on the bench at best, to be honest.
Yeah,
correct.
The Ryan Jack gives me the fear. Every time he's injured, honestly, it just gives me the fear, because it tends to always end like this. It's, he should be available for the next game, and then the next game comes and it's, he's not available, and there's no clear detail on what it is. I know Gerrard said before that he needs to manage Ryan Jack, and he's obviously got this recurring injury that's probably quite serious. I mean, I don't know if it's going to require an operation, but he's going to be hoping to play in the Euros. So, I mean, it's a tricky one. I do think, well, possibly Zungu was brought in maybe as the kind of aim to play second fiddle to Ryan Jack, if you like, maybe to be that kind of replacement for when things like this happen, or when they need to, in inverted commas, manage Ryan Jack, the way Gerrard said before. But I mean, that's clearly not worked. So yeah, I mean, Rangers are going to need strength in there, and as you said, Scotia, with the chance of Champions League coming up, then there's definitely going to need to be investment made in the midfield. But I mean, I would be shocked if Ryan Jack plays on Sunday as well. I don't think he will.
The thing about this, and it's scar tissue, like we've talked about with the games this season, it's scar tissue that we've had so many players throughout the years who've this is kind of things happen to. I'll be back soon. He'll be back soon. He'll be back soon. It just carries on and on. So maybe that's kind of clouding my judgment a wee bit on it. That I've just got the ultimate fear that it's going to happen again, because it wouldn't be like Rangers not to have this kind of problem.
Oh, of course, mate. Yeah, and we've got two just now, really, that are the kind of bigger ones, Ryan Jack and Kamar Roof. Ryan Jack, I think, was always going to be a Rangers player. I don't think, like, in comparison to Kamar Roof, what I mean is Kamar Roof at his absolute best and not injured is not playing for Rangers. There's just no chance of that, because he's far too good a player. Ryan Jack, I'm not saying Rangers is Ryan Jack's level, but as you say as well, Ali, he's such an important figure for Rangers, and the way that Gerrard wants to play football as well, he does that role brilliant. And I was hoping that he was basically going to take over the reins from Davis whenever Davis decides to retire. But the way things are going, Ryan Jack could retire before Davis with these injuries. You never know what's going to happen. So I suppose it's one we're going to need to wait and see, and just hope that he makes a recovery. But I would doubt we're going to see him Sunday. Do you think he'll play Sunday, Scotia?
No. I mean, up until this morning, I had him in my team for tomorrow night, and then I heard the news, and I was like, "Oh well, no." And so,
Ali, you're not playing Sunday, will he?
No chance. Absolutely no chance. Like I said, the best he's got is making that bench, but no chance he'll start.
So get well soon. Ryan Jack, please, I miss you. But yeah, so I'll move on to me. And talking about getting well soon, obviously we did the club, our first ever club Q&A on Saturday. And thank you to everybody, by the way. The response to that's really been pretty fantastic considering it's just us three sitting with a couple of beers talking about questions that you've all sent in, but the response has been really, really good. It's a pod that we absolutely loved doing, and we will do it again in future for sure. But while we were doing it, obviously the news broke from the club, or they confirmed at least, that Walter Smith was recovering in hospital from an operation. So the only reason I'm bringing this up is basically just to have a wee rant, really, more than anything. Now, I received 3 WhatsApp messages that night, that day, even, regarding Walter Smith. 1, that he was in hospital. 2, that he had 2 types of cancer. And then the 3rd one, I got one to say he'd passed away. Now, this is ridiculous behaviour for anybody to do. You shouldn't be doing this. This shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be. It's hard to describe without me going off on a proper rant about it, because it's not right for this behaviour. I know people want to pretend they're in some sort of know or in the loop and want to break the news first, but doing something like this is just so out of line. It's not on, especially with a guy of the stature of Walter Smith and what he means to us and what he means to everybody. The reason I say I'm bringing it up is every person that sent me that message, I sent back. I've heard nothing from any official source. I've heard nothing from any podcasting source that I trust. So I don't believe it. Literally don't believe a word of it. It's not true. But people are obviously getting quite upset about it. But I will reiterate, obviously, and we pass on our best to Walter Smith. Hopefully he makes a full recovery from whatever he's going through just now, and we just need to respect the family's request to have some privacy at this time. But yeah, Ali, I'll just come to you quickly on it. Whoever made these WhatsApp messages up, they need to have a long, hard look at themselves, really.
It's the world we live in at the moment, unfortunately, with social media. It's somebody says something that grows arms and legs. It's like Chinese whispers, and you've got people writing things that want to be they want to be seen in the know to get likes, whatever it is, all sorts. When I see things like that on social media, I don't even look at it, to be honest, unless it's an official source coming out and saying. And it was pretty sad that Rangers actually had to come out and post a statement about it to actually say, no, look, he's recovering. Basically, the family want a bit of privacy, end of. And that's the way it should be. We were lucky that we grew up in a generation where you didn't really have social media back then. It was, I think was it Bebo back then or something, but you didn't have it. You didn't have what it is now, to be honest. I mean, it's really bad, social media at times, and you see people bullying people on social media and stuff. It's a horrible place at times, social media. And no, whoever that was needs to take a hard look at themselves, because that's shocking, saying about a guy's health. And doesn't matter if it's Walter Smith or somebody else. You shouldn't be saying things like that on social media, and for Rangers to come out and actually have to make a statement on it I thought was shocking. And like you say, we obviously hope Walter gets better, but that should be the end of it now, and let his family have a bit of privacy, and hopefully we see Walter in the future.
Yeah, the only reason I say I was bringing it up is because we hadn't done one of these shows, obviously, since the news broke. I know we mentioned it briefly on Saturday, but it's something that kind of wrangled me. Scotia, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, firstly, send my best wishes to this Smith family. But I mean, I know you say we didn't grow up with it, but this sort of stuff's happened time immemorial. That's the reason there's something called Chinese whispers, really, isn't there? Social media just exacerbates the situation. It just it gets there that much quicker, and it goes to one person, and it just continually changes bit by bit. You know, the person that sent it first, it could have been a completely innocuous statement, but by the time it ends up to other people, it's wee bits have been added on, and it just becomes a bit of a nightmare. So, like you'll see it, and you just go, wait until you actually hear an official source, really, which should be the way you look at things for everything, pretty much, I think.
Yeah, as I say, it's not on, it's not correct, and receiving bits like that, and of course it got me concerned a wee bit. I was trying my hardest not to believe it as well, but I was like, what if, and then again it just kind of spiraled out of control. But yeah, it's terrible behaviour, and it really should not be happening. Anyway, we'll move on to some lighter news, and I just want to give a big shout out to the Rangers commercial team and Castore for their spectacular billboards that have appeared around Glasgow recently, that say "Undisputed Kings of Glasgow, can you see us now? # better never stops." Ali, this is spectacular.
Yeah, I thought I would sport my Castore hat like yours, just in
Same.
sort of admiration for it today. Yeah, I've seen it in social media today, and this is when social media is good, by the way, when you see
Yes,
things like
yes, it
this.
is.
But
Yeah.
it was no, I mean everybody's trolling them. I seen a guy, I think it was EastEnders today, was doing a video about RIP.
Max Brannan.
That's
It
him.
was Terry Monroe.
RIP Terry Monroe. The wake will be on the 17th of May at Ibrox or whatever it was when we get the title. But it was top trolling from Castore, and to be honest, it's 100% true. We've talked about it. They've had 9-10 years of having a go at us, so we can enjoy our 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it's going to be, till the season starts, and it'll probably continue into the season. But no, I hope they're enjoying every bit they're getting, Celtic fans, because it's absolutely brilliant. And as we say, Glasgow is blue.
It is, Scotia. This is spectacular work, isn't it?
It's brilliant shit house there, isn't it? It's just getting started as well. That's the best thing about it. We've not even been given the league title yet. I mean, when that day happens, there's obviously good news came out this week in the world of COVID regulations loosening, hopefully, in the not too distant future. And the day that you see Tav lift that trophy, it's going to ramp up to 11.
Very much so.
Reference there.
Yeah. Yeah, they have. They ain't seen nothing yet. They really haven't. They ain't seen nothing yet. But yeah, it was spectacular. I also seen, just before we move on, somebody did a wee clip in the newspaper as well, in the Worrells bit, the Terry Monroe one as well. I thought that was pretty funny. So yeah. But yeah, really, really good from Castore and brilliant from the club. It really is. Really is just kicking into gear slightly. But as I say, we've not even left first gear yet. Just everybody wait, I'm telling you. But we'll move on to our next game. So Rangers obviously welcome Slavia Prague to Ibrox on Thursday, 18th of March, for the second leg of the Europa League last 16. And the kick-off is at 8 p.m. Just before we get into our thoughts on the upcoming match, it was press conference day today, and it was Gerrard and Arfield that attended. Ali, do you want to take us through the press conference today?
First up was Gerrard. It was a reporter, obviously, the Slavia Prague sort of side, asked him, I don't know why he asked him this, because he's never going to give him it, asked him what his score prediction was going to be, and Gerrard kind of looked at him and went, well, obviously I'm not going to give you that. So he did. I thought it was a weird one, but fair play to the guy for asking it. But he did say that he'd be ready for a tough game. Obviously, Slavia are a tough team, well organised. He says the game plan all along was to set it up at Ibrox, positive with a away goal. But he says we need to play better, and kind of still has it a 50-50 tie. Obviously, Ryan Jack, we've touched on. All he said on that, as we said, was he's not available, and that was the end of it. And he'll make a decision about for the old firm probably later on in the week. So that's that and that one. He was mentioned, obviously, Scotia likes the Scottish national team. He was asked about Patterson being at right back. I mean, I know O'Donnell's played for Scotland recently. He doesn't fill me with confidence, to be honest. But he said with Patterson, there's no rush with him. Basically, he's young. Needs to continue with development, and he'll get there eventually, especially if Stephen O'Donnell's the right back for Scotland. So it's not hard. And then Davy Edgar for Heart and Hand asked him about the game plan. Said they basically need to handle the ball better, play with more belief. He thought in the first leg we gave the ball away too many times in the first half, and we need to come out the block a lot quicker, which I'd expect from Rangers tomorrow. He was asked about Slavia, kind of on a Leicester result, the 2-0 they got there. He says he obviously respects them as a team. He thinks they're a fit, powerful team. He actually referred to them like a kind of German team, the way they play. He says we have no fear. And obviously we have a strong home record, so basically to take the game to them. He was asked, where does the game rank? He said obviously it's one of his biggest games. They have a chance to go one step further than last season, get into the last 8, so it's massive. And obviously, you can get an extended press conference sometimes. There's bits. He was asked about Walter Smith, and he obviously said he spoke to Walter's family privately, and basically everyone's behind him and wishes him well. So that was all from Gerrard. That one. Don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
The the point Gerrard's making, obviously, but I mean that report at the start, I watched the one on YouTube. What does he think Gerrard's going to say? Do you know what I mean? I was like,
200 Rangers.
200 Rangers, mate. Stick it on your coffin. Yeah, it just when he said that, I was like, that's ridiculous. But he's probably spot on in his analysis of what Rangers have to do better. Obviously, I'm not surprised that Gerrard knows what he's talking about, let's be honest. But Rangers do need to come out the blocks much, much better. We can't give them a chance to get a goal. If they get a goal, they could shut up shop. But yeah, I mean, everything else apart from that's really kind of positive. To say the only really negative about it is the Ryan Jack injury, which is probably going to run on, I would imagine, but we'll need to wait and see. We've already spoke about that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a good press conference, and obviously a touch of class as well from what he said about Walter, as you would expect, really. Scott, anything on that?
Yeah, pretty much the same as you. Yeah, agree with what he said in the game. On the Patterson thing, I think nip that right in the bud straight away. He's getting handed his suspension the day Scotland play, so it would have looked a bit off if the SFA hand him, or SFA, SPFL, whoever it is, hand him a suspension, then he's in the Scotland squad, for that week. It's a bit of a blow because, you could maybe make the argument if he was playing from now to the end of the season, he'd maybe have a shout at getting into that Euro squad. It might be a bit harsh on O'Donnell, but if he'd played well, he might have had a wee shout. You'll never know. But yeah, you can nip that right in the bud straight away. Yeah, I agree with everything what you said, and yeah, just reiterate the best well wishes to the Smith family.
I'll ask you a quick question. For Rangers, do you want O'Donnell right back or Patterson?
For Rangers?
Yeah, so if you had the choice between the two, would you pick O'Donnell or would you pick
Patterson?
Yeah, so why would he not be in the Scotland team? That's the way I look at it. Why would they not be in the Scotland team? I think he should be, but that's probably a conversation for another time as well. I don't think he's picked the best midfielder in Scotland, has he? David Turnbull didn't pick him.
I didn't pick Turnbull. I was surprised at that one, to be honest.
Pick Christie, who hasn't kicked his arse in about 6 months or something. So yeah, weird one for me. But yeah, Scotland's not my forte, mate, so I might be wrong. So what was Scotty Arfield saying today, Alec?
Yeah, no, Scotty Arfield is up. He's usually good in front of the press, so gives you a wee bit more than our pal Joe Aribo when he's there. So he was basically asked how big is this in terms of your career? Obviously, he says massive. It's a big game, chance to get to the last 8. He's looking forward to it. He was asked, obviously, Rangers had a free weekend there. We didn't have to play in the league, so it's hugely beneficial to prepare. There were 3 different training sessions on to focus, and it was good to have full focus just on that game, obviously not having a league game in between to sort of distract. So no, it was a positive. It was asked in terms of the tempo of the Rangers team, which is something we all touch on a lot. When that tempo is high, Rangers usually run over the top of teams. He said it's not just the midfield that need to be at it, basically the whole team need to be at it. And it's true, the way we play football, if there's a couple of players that aren't playing it, it quickly breaks down that tempo. You need all players high tempo and that. So no, he said on that. And on the title, obviously he's not been asked about the title from the press since he's won the title, so he says it feels amazing. But he says we still have 2 massive months ahead. So obviously we've got the Scottish Cup, we've got the Europe as well. So he says stage 1's completed basically in terms of the league, but the next 2 months we've got some massive games, so we can't just sit back and relax basically. And again, he was asked about the Old Firm, but he says that's on the back burner. But this game's the focus, and as we've heard from all Rangers players this season, it's one game at a time. The game in front of us will focus at. So yeah, that's what he said to the press. But
yeah, it's just the way Scotty Arfield goes, not the next game and the next game, and that's really the mentality of the team. But yeah, it was good to hear from Scotty Arfield. But yeah, I've got every confidence they're focused. Scott?
Yeah, I didn't catch Arfield's conference. Was busy today with work, so I selected Gerrard's over his. But by the sounds of it, maybe I've tried to squeeze it in. Yeah, so not really much to add. I don't have not seen enough of it yet.
That's fair enough. Not a problem. So we'll move on to the Slavia Prague themselves. So their last match they played on Sunday there, they won 3-0 away from home. And our old foe Stanchu getting 2 of their goals. However, the team they were playing have only won 4 games in the league this season, but they have not lost a game now since the 10th of December 2020, and that was a defeat to Bayer Leverkusen in the Europa League. So Ali said it in the preview of the first leg, no mugs, this team, Rangers are going to need to be on it.
No, I said it earlier on in terms of the previous pods about Slavia. they remind me very like Rangers, just the way we've went about this season, the way they kind of play Slavia as well, are very similar to Rangers. And like I said, even after 1-1, a lot of folk would say the advantage with Rangers with a away goal with Ibrox. I'd still have a tie 50-50. I will obviously come on to score predictions. I honestly think they will score at Ibrox. I'd be very surprised if they didn't score at Ibrox. So, yeah, no, they're a very good team. Slavia, one of the better teams we've played. Probably up there with, I would put them up there with Benfica, to be honest, the way they played. I would put them that level. Bayer Leverkusen, I know they beat Bayer Leverkusen this year, but obviously they lost a few players from when we played them. But yeah, a very, very good team, Slavia Prague.
Yeah, Scotia, you expecting much of the same this league?
Yeah, I think so. I noted from their game at the weekend that they rested sort of 4 of their players that started against us. Obviously, Zima's suspended because he picked up that yellow card, so he didn't play at the weekend. I think the guy Daly, who I would imagine will take his place, he started that, or he played that whole game. They rested the fullback, who really impressed us as well. I think he got a 10-minute run out towards the end of the weekend there. Although I did see that Olyenka, the Senegalese number 9, the 19-year-old, he missed the weekend, and I've heard rumours that he actually might miss tomorrow night as well. So interesting if that comes to fruition. Yeah, but Slavia, yeah, I think they're the best team we've played, to be honest. Maybe apart from Benfica. I think when you look at the Bayer Leverkusen team, they were a good team, but we weren't playing great at that point. And then obviously when we played them in the second leg, we hadn't played a game in months, or a competitive game at least in months. So it's difficult to judge there. But I think Slavia are definitely up there because we were playing really well, and so were they. It was a really tight, close game, and I think the same goes into tomorrow, really.
Yeah, I would say the same. I think it's going to be a tough game. All I will say is if Rangers play the way we can play, then I do fancy us. I think it's all down to what Rangers do. I mean, obviously, I don't know if Slavia Prague have got another level or not. I don't watch Slavia Prague enough to even slightly know that. I think one of their centre backs is out as well, Ali.
I was going to say, just touching on Scotia's head there, a couple of players out. We've got 3 players hanging on yellow cards that potentially could get suspended going into the next round. I thought that might get written off, but it isn't. So the 3 players is Kamara, Barisic and Roof. Roof you can get away with, but Kamara and Barisic would be big misses if they get booked.
Oh, they'd be huge misses if they get booked.
I seen Andy Newport tweeting about that today, because I was of the thought that it was after the last 16 it gets scrapped, but that's from an article that was made just before they played the kind of tail end of last year's competition, that they changed it to the scrapped after the last 16 to kind of balance it up, because obviously for a lot of teams they'd played one game, so it was for that. So actually after the quarterfinals it gets scrapped, so tightrope time.
Oh, not half. Yeah, that's especially with Ryan Jack as well, being the way Jack is now. Injured though. That's God. Every time Jack Kamara's in for a tackle, I'll be wincing. I'll be like, oh, don't get booked, don't get booked. But yeah, I'm expecting a tough game. Yeah, I really am. But if Rangers show up and play the way we can play, then I do fancy us. So starting 11s, gentlemen. I'll go first. So I'll try and get this one right, because I think I put Balogun in last time when he was suspended. So mine, just to be honest, it's not changed from the first time I did this. My notes haven't changed. So McGregor, Patterson, Goldson, Hollander, Barisic, Davis, Kamara, Arfield, Aribo, Kent and Morelos. Ali?
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if we all didn't pick the same team. I'm the exact same team as you. I thought he would I thought Hadji struggled in that first leg, so I thought he would bring Arfield back in for a wee bit more steel in the midfield, if you like, and he'll link up Aribo further forward. Looked better in that game. So, yeah, I'd be very surprised if Scotia didn't pick the same team, but it's Scotia, and he's always got a wee curveball at times.
Scott.
No, not this. Not this time. No, exact same team this time. Yeah, it was the team I thought that he would start last week. That first 30 minutes last week, we didn't look great. Was it down to the weekend? Probably not. Probably a mix of everything, to be honest.
Yeah,
but I think bringing Arfield into that midfield gives us a bit more control of the game, because I don't want us to defend the lead that we've got as such, but think it could give us more, and it also gives the opportunity to make it a bit more attacking later on, should we need to go a bit more attacking.
Yeah, I just think it will be. I think Arfield will start. I definitely do. So I'm going to say we've all picked the same score as well. I'm pretty positive we've all picked the same score. 2-1 to Rangers.
100%. I think I gave it away when I said they would score Slavia. So yeah, I've got 2-1 as well.
Scott?
No, I've got 2 scores in my mind, and again, I'm going to go with my heart again this week, and I'm going to say 2-0.
2-0. Nice. I
2-1's
think
my
they'll
head.
score.
Yeah, 2-1's my head score, but I'll go 2-0.
I think they'll. I'll agree with Ali. You will all be surprised to hear, but I think they'll score. I do think they will score. But yeah, 2-1. I say Rangers show up and do the business. We Alfie's on fire. Then you never know what could happen.
I did see they were having a moan at the pitch, Slavia. Apparently they're not chuffed with the state of the pitch. So
the pitch hasn't been great though, has it?
No.
I mean, you
Don't
can't
disagree.
Really, I'm like, well, yeah. Round their keeper spot wasn't great, to be honest. But I mean, I'm not surprised they're complaining about the pitch at Ibrox. It's not looked great for a wee while. Too many pigeons.
We should have taken them on a wee tour at the Tony Macaroni down at Livingston and went, look what we usually used to play on.
Would you rather play in Ibrox or would you rather play in this dump, man? Like, that's stupid, ridiculous pitch. But no, I know. I mean, I'm not surprised at that, to be honest. But yeah, as I say, just a win. Rangers, please get us through. Really is a massive game. It's the biggest game of the week. There's no doubt about that. We will come back after this game's over and done with, and we've done our post match as well. We'll come back and we'll preview the Old Firm on Sunday. But this is the most important game of the week, so it's getting a whole bit on its own, really. So yeah, Ali, thank you very much for your time, mate. We'll leave it there. We'll obviously be back tomorrow night after the game. So cheers for your time, mate.
No problem. Look forward to tomorrow night, and I'll speak to you after the game.
Cheers, Scotia.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Speak to you later.
So, as always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Like the videos, give us a wee 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, leave a comment and share anywhere that you can. It really does help support us and it does make a huge difference. And as I said earlier on, thank you to the great response of our first ever club Q&A show that we've done. We had a right laugh doing it. We had to do it twice, albeit we had to do it twice because the first recording went wrong. That was my fault. But yeah, we had a great laugh doing it. A cracking laugh on Saturday doing that, so we'll definitely do it again. But anyway, thank you all for listening. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and we will speak to you tomorrow with a club reaction pod after, hopefully, we are through to the last day of Europa League. So just before I go, Glasgow Rangers, champions.